Hi, my name is Anna Yurig and I'm the Conservation Manager of two team sites in Central Africa. Our team wants to find out what the differences in terrestrial vertebrate species are at the Bwindi Impenetrable Forest and Virunga Massif, and the patterns of species abundance. We are just flying over our isolated sites now and will shortly be landing to retrieve camera traps, the data of which we can then analyse in order to expand our knowledge of these important sites so that we can better manage them in the future. There was a lot of data that was retrieved from our two locations. However, to answer our question of species diversity and abundance, we only needed to know what species were present, and then we further filtered out the data to count how many total sightings there were of each species. So a lot of the additional information was just left out.
When analysing the data, we use Sorensen's coefficient of community, which is an index that can tell us how similar two locations are in terms of the species that can be found there. As you can see on the table, there's 12 species in common between the sites. We used this information and we found that the Sorensen's index result was 0.45, which tells us that there's about a 45% similarity between the two sites in terms of the species. This doesn't take into account the abundance. So now that we knew what species were present at each location, we wanted to know just how many there were in terms of species abundance. So we went back to our data and found out the total number of sightings of each animal, and we used this to calculate relative abundance. So the most abundant species was the olive baboon at Virunga Massif and the black-fronted duiker at Bwindi. And these were quite significant because they were both highly dominating, as you can see here by the steep curve. And then the other species, they were sort of equal in terms of their numbers. So rank abundance curves can show us how species richness and evenness is at a location. And it was interesting that the olive baboon that dominated at Virunga Massif was not even present at Bwindi.
Overall, this data shows us that there are large differences in biodiversity and differences in camera trap estimated populations of common species between the locations. Considering that the sites are close, the community similarity was low. Information such as this will help us to make decisions in the future in regards to how the respective areas are managed. These sites provide invaluable data on the status of the Congo Basin tropical forests and conservation effectiveness in the Congo Basin, the world's second largest block of tropical forest. The Bwindi region is the most species-rich region of comparable size in Africa for vertebrates and contains many endemic and threatened species. It is therefore a very high priority area for conservation. Our focus is on maintaining existing populations, and through frequent reviews and analyses such as the one carried out here, we can monitor any changes in terrestrial animal presence and abundance.
The time is now to use modern technology to help us do all that we can in order to conserve such remarkable habitats as the ones we've spoken about today. Bwindi, for example, is home to over half the world's population of the endangered mountain gorilla, and so many other ecologically invaluable species. And it is our responsibility to conserve them and make sure they last well into the future.